Hello everyone and welcome to another first look video. Today we're going to be taking a look at the all-new FUJIFILM GFX100 II, a monstrous medium format sensor camera with a ton of exciting features for both photo and video. Let's talk about it. Larger than the full frame, the GFX100 II offers the latest generation with a 102 megapixel Bayer sensor with Fujifilm's X processor 5. It was re-engineered to provide a new level of motion video performance, and it's backed by its feature set. Fujifilm has also added camera to cloud support powered by Frame.io. This gives GFX users the ability to share work instantaneously through Ethernet or Wi-Fi, making this a great option for your workflow if you work with clients. Before we take a look at the outside of the camera, I do want to note that this is a pre-production model, so the final features and button layout might change. Current users of the GFX100 will notice that the side grip has been eliminated, making this overall footprint a lot smaller and more reminiscent of mirrorless cameras today. I really like the option of removing the viewfinder, as it made the camera more compact and easier to balance on a gimbal. The very angled LCD assures you get the shot no matter the angle. Waveform and vector scope monitoring help dial in the perfect exposure, and I do have to say that having these tools on the day I shot these sample images was a blessing. The skies decided to open up, giving me a sunny day and a bit of a challenge to get some great shots. The sun also made it hard to see the LCD screen at times, so having that 9.44 million dot EVF really helped. Like the first GFX100, this too has an info screen on the top of the camera with the ability to display different information through a backlit panel. The movie/still knob becomes a switch, and the joystick gets a nice upgrade as well. Overall, the feeling of the camera is very premium. For storage, Fujifilm opts to include a CF Express Type B slot and an XC SD card slot as well. Due to the massive size of the files, I would definitely recommend going with at least a V90 card in that SD slot, and make sure you have plenty of storage. To power this camera, you now have only a single battery slot that takes the NPW235 battery. The GFX100 II is a great option for photographers and content creators that need to be able to produce high-resolution media with creature comforts found in compact mirrorless cameras today. The 102 megapixel sensor and the ability to shoot in up to 8 frames per second continuously with mechanical shutter makes it a great choice for fashion, landscape, and architecture photography. Fujifilm has finally tuned the GFX100 II to produce a 30% increase in dynamic range compared to the GFX100S and GFX100. Improved 16-bit RAW quality, increased corner sensitivity, and ISO 80 as the standard low ISO. For the filmmaker or video enthusiast, the GFX100 II is capable of shooting in 4K 60 frames per second full sensor readout without a crop, and 8K up to 30 frames per second with a slight crop. The option to record Apple ProRes in 10-bit 422 internally and 12-bit 422 Apple ProRes RAW or Blackmagic RAW at up to 8K via HDMI gives the shooter a plethora of options and resolutions to choose from. The massive 102 megapixel sensor is stabilized, giving the user up to 8 stops of in-body image stabilization, and the tracking focus system works well at tracking subjects all the way across the frame. Now let's talk about some of the video features that I think are special in the sense that Fujifilm has specifically included them for the video shooters. Features like the ability to shoot in F-Log2 with 14 plus stops of dynamic range, waveform and vector scope monitoring, and SSD recording. Pick your favorite cine format, as the GFX100 II is the first mirrorless camera to provide specific crops and aspect ratios for multiple cinema formats. These include GF format, Premista VistaVision, and 35mm full frame. With a GF to PL adapter, you can now take advantage of the camera's massive sensor with your favorite cinema lenses. There's also an anamorphic recording mode that provides various de-squeeze monitoring options in camera. All in all, this camera is a powerhouse for both photo and video, and a welcome successor to its previous versions. Fujifilm has done a great job at providing us with the ultimate high-resolution medium format camera for both photo and video. Now with that being said, let's talk about how I chose to use this and how it performed. I decided to check out the Orange County Art Museum in Costa Mesa, as this impressive set of structures around the area lent well for some architecture photography. Now, it was really my last-ditch effort to capture some sample images before returning this camera to Fujifilm, thanks to the crazy storm that we got in the area. And luckily, the skies cleared up and I was able to pull together some sample images to show you here today. Now, I'm not an architecture photographer, so please take it easy on me. And it's also good to note that Fujifilm shipped my version with a 55mm, giving me a 44mm full frame equivalent. Perhaps not my first choice in focal length for architecture photography, but despite my odds, I set off to find my own adventure. So without further ado, let's roll these sample images I was able to produce using the new GFX100 II and the Fujinon GF 55mm f1.7R WR lens. And I do have to let you know that all the following images were shot using a pre-production model and not the final release version. So let's roll it. If you found this video helpful, please hit that like button and consider subscribing to the channel for everything photo and video. If you want to learn more about the GFX100, the second, or any other Fujifilm product, head on over to one of our Southern California retail locations or visit us online at samys.com. That's going to do it for us here today, guys. Stay safe, and I'll catch you in the next one.